Okay, yeah, I don't see my stream on yet, so.
I don't either. I'm just refreshing over here on the YouTubes. Nope, still not showing there. It's not showing here either. Oh, yeah, it's now streaming. It says it's streaming now.
Okay, well,
Let's hope that's true.
hello everyone, and thanks for joining us at our brand new time, 1:30 Mountain Time. Hope everyone's able to join us at our new time. And, our format's going to be a little bit different. We're going a little bit shorter or just the length till the steam of the conversation runs out. We kind of understand like everyone is really busy doing stuff, and an hour is a long time. An hour is a long time. So today we're going to be talking about rest as we're in this new year instead of like go get them and what are you creating and all that kind of stuff. Is no, let's enter the new year in a gentler way. And so the first question we're kind of talking about is like, what is rest? What do you call rest? How do you rest? And do you allow for it? And I think that's kind of off of another topic that I had thought about is, do you need an illness to make you rest? Do you need to create something in your body to make you be quiet? But then I thought like maybe rest is more than just what I thought it was, which is laying around doing nothing. so so we were talking about that a little bit, and when I mentioned that to you, Larissa, you had said something about your work you were doing with your therapist.
Yeah, my occupational therapist, we were talking about noticing. I'm supposed to be paying attention to what's going on within me, but is it calming or is it avoidance?
Mm.
And so one of the things that I realized is that, if I'm playing games on my phone, if I'm doing a puzzle, such as, like the jigsaw puzzles that I do, it's very calming. I can feel the calm energy settling in. But if I'm playing cards or some other, game, it is not calming. It is avoiding. And
Mhm.
so it got me thinking about rest as someone who needs a lot of it right now is like, what is actually restful? What is bringing my nervous system back to a reset, right? Because that's what I'm aiming for, is to bring my nervous system back to reset. And as someone who's very good at avoiding in my whole life, it's just like, what does that look like? What does, what brings that calm? What makes it truly restful?
Mhm.
Yeah. And sometimes for me, laying down is not it because my brain is going nonstop.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's funny when we started to open that up a little bit, being out in nature, like sitting outdoors, being in the sun, you
Hmm.
know, a gentle walk, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, I
Yeah.
know for me, like in my past, like anything gentle walk didn't go together, those two words. Because it needed to be like, everything has to be a workout, it has to have purpose, it has to have like meaning. Otherwise, why
Hmm.
do it? And it's just, I don't know if it's just as I'm, getting older, maturing. I just don't have that kind of, I'm not directing my fire in that way. My fire energy doesn't go towards like, rah, 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 I gotta win. You know,
Hmm.
I think it's, I think it's more than just one thing. I actually asked my husband this question, like, do you think it's because we're getting older and we're slowing down? Or is it that we just don't find, importance in the running around anymore? Is it just wisdom? Or is it also the changing climate of, the energetics of things? So it could
Mm.
be yes, and all of that.
And I think it will be different for everyone. Um, Melissa Centart, Melisentart.
Millicent
I,
art.
yeah,
Millicent art.
Millicent Art. I bet it's art at the end.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the one word. I'm resting more when I'm not feeling well, like right now. Yes, but do we wait until we're not feeling well? I know for sure that's been my thing,
Yeah.
right? Is my whole life run, run, run. And I remember every Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas here, And all of a sudden I would be sick because you would go, 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 especially getting everything ready for the kids for Christmas and all of those things. And Boxing Day, you would stop and breathe and get sick. And it
Mm,
was like every year. And I found that the same thing with any, push, push, push. And then as soon as it was done, I'd get sick.
mhm.
And as someone who is in this chronic illness phase of my life, um, I have to rest. I don't have a choice. And I know that I do fight it on occasion because that's what I do. But
Like the
also,
little kid that needs to take a nap, "I don't wanna take a nap."
I I do. I feel like a toddler sometimes. You can't tell me what to do. No, I don't want to. Because I've actually had to go and like go to sleep in the daytime, which is not a typical for me.
Mhm,
And like just stopping and resting has not been enough. I've
mhm.
actually had to go and go to sleep. So yeah, I've been fighting it a little bit. And
Yeah.
so it's, but do we have to go that far? Do we have to wait till we're sick? Do we have to, be at the extreme before we can do that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the other things we had talked about too around that too was like the idea of being resourced and how, finances, money, the dollars are part of that. But it's like our mind got so shifted around the need to make money, the need to survive with that. Because, some of it isn't just like, and some of it is too. Some people work to get the paycheck so they can have the stuff, and
Mhm.
that and you're grinding it out to get that. Some of it's just the basics. But then, we're forgetting about the other resources that we need, and that is like health is a huge resource,
Mhm.
and our health very much depends on whether we have time, downtime, unplugging time. I mean, even when, you've worked a full day, you're tired, and we're scrolling on the phone or we're watching TV, that's you're unplugging, but you're not recharging anything. You're not
Mhm.
spending any time with yourself. It's, you're still on in some way.
And that was the avoidance part for me. Like, am I avoiding or am I actually calming, right?
Mhm.
And that calming part, the comments aren't showing up here, but I can see them on my YouTube here.
Oh, good.
Why rest if you don't feel tired? There must be some triggers to make you want to rest. I would say that was my thought before, but as
Mhm.
someone who has learned the hard way, maybe resting before you feel like you need to is a good idea, so you don't need to,
Yeah.
right? So you don't end up with no choice. And then she also says, as an older person, I get tired sooner than when I was younger. Oh my Lord, yes.
Yeah.
Um, I think that is a part of age. We've just done so much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why we have our kids young, hopefully, is so that we have the energy for them when we're younger
Yeah.
and can keep up with them. And now it's supposed to be, you know, the enjoying lifetime, so
Mhm.
supposedly.
Yeah.
But I do think, just going back to the comment of why rest if you don't feel tired, it's the recharging. We're not recharging, right? We let our battery run completely out.
Mhm.
And then we're like, oh, and then we top it up enough just to keep going. And then we top it up enough to just to keep going.
Mhm.
And we never fully recharge our battery. Even on vacation, think about how exhausted you come back from a vacation,
Yeah.
right? Because you do all the things when
Mhm.
you're on vacation. You got to see this and you have to go there and you have to, meet these people and all the things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it remembering to rest is such an important part.
Yeah. I actually I don't plan stuff like that, like on vacation. I remember one time, we were staying at this place that was like like it was condos and stuff, but of course they have the timeshare thing they're always trying
Mm,
to tell you. So we're
mhm.
getting off it was a long flight. We're getting off the plane. I'm tired. I just want to sleep. And but then you're vulnerable, right? They want to pull you into the sales office. And they're like, they have this calendar and like you can do this and this and this. I'm like, no, I'm not here for more planning. I'm here to like fly by the seat of my pants and do what I feel like I want to do in the moment I want to do it. And I
Yeah.
got so mad at the guy, and he was like totally shocked because it's like, well, of course you want to plan because if you want to go do this activity or that activity, I'm like, I don't really care about activities. If it works out, I'll go.
Yeah, I have to say I've always been driven by the what's next, right?
Yeah.
Until till more recently. Um, uh, so schedule rest was the next comment.
Yeah.
And
I was,
yeah, that's what
yeah.
I've had to do. I now am working 3 half days a week,
Hmm.
and every other day is a rest day, and that's all I can do. I've had to schedule rest.
Yep.
Now, if I had scheduled rest in somewhere in the last 50 plus years before that, maybe I wouldn't need to do it now. I
Hmm.
don't know. But yeah, I cannot do, and even this morning I was talking to somebody about probably one of my clients. I can't remember, but I was talking about how I'm exhausted by 9 a.m. now. And it's like, okay, well, I'm only working 3 half days. So where am I supposed to schedule in this nap in the half day? Right. So I don't know. I need a nap in my half day. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It
Yeah.
might have to come to that.
Kitty cat nap.
Yeah. And I wish it was just like a cat nap. No, I'm out cold
Yeah.
because I'm so tired. Yeah.
Hmm.
So looking after ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. When I have people here that I'm working with, I set up the schedule so that it has time for me to rest in it too. But the person that's here needs to have that time alone
Mhm.
to integrate what they just kind of went through. So we don't, I mean, just because we have the time doesn't mean we have to like, go with the gusto all the time. I think, and I sometimes wonder too if some of that is like, again, money driven. I want to get my money's worth out of this program I just paid for. But like
Mhm.
that is part of it. It's getting you out of that mentality of like everything is on like high charge. It's like healing doesn't need to be that way either. Healing is about letting it unfold and letting it unfurl, and rest is part of healing. And so like even if you're not sick and you've been holding on to pain and tension in your body for a long, long time, when you finally let go of that tension, your body is exhausted. It feels depleted. It feels exhausted. It needs to recharge. So the rest has to be built into the healing week that I have here. But that
Mhm.
but that's like an interesting thing that kind of taps into the nonlinearity of healing. It's like we just have this really weird perception that, this thing that we've been holding on to for so long finally goes away and now we're just free of it and do. It'd be nice if it were like that. But, as we were talking about earlier too, is like, the new earth energies that are coming onto the planet, we have to acclimate our bodies to that. Our bodies used to moving with beliefs of lack, and I have to always say lack and not enough. They're the same thing, but it's like it's an idea of lack and then I'm not enough, you know?
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
have to work harder, right? And,
Mhm.
you know, so all of our belief systems living in a world where we have to hustle, living in a world where the patriarchy is the ruler, right? We're integrating in the more feminine energies. And isn't it's a great thing, right? The feminine flow, it sounds wonderful. But if your body's wired to masculine push, there's an integration piece that has to happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that also requires work and rest, right? So the I hate using the word work for something like rest because you know
But you need to practice it,
yeah.
right? So you have to work at it. You have to practice it because we are not used to it. I have been, you know, driven my whole life by my parents, by our culture, by my own need to I don't know, prove something. I don't know what it is, but you know, so it's like produce, produce, produce. You have to do all the things.
Mhm,
And e- to the point where I now physically cannot.
mhm,
That's how much I've pushed myself.
yeah.
And, I'd like to say, well, if I'd learned this lesson, 20 years ago, then I wouldn't be here. However, I obviously needed this lesson,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing about illness is
Yeah.
that it we don't get to choose like, oh, like, yeah, 20 years ago, if I had paid attention to what was going on, I wouldn't be in this place. Yeah, that's probably true. However, I didn't. This is
Mm-hmm.
where I am at now. This is the lesson I need now. And I need to just allow for that. I have
Mm-hmm.
been working on patience my whole life, right? I need more patience. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah. There's,
definitely learning patience when you walk like a snail.
yeah.
And
Well, there's compassion, like self-compassion with that too, for, the place you're at right now and not making it wrong because you'd rather be somewhere else. It's like, well, for whatever the reason is, I've chosen this, but like maybe I can connect in with my soul self and start working on the things I need to work with, on the soul level. And maybe it doesn't have to be as painful, or, maybe, my soul can make it a little bit, easier for me to move through. Do I have to make it that hard? Like, what's making it that hard? Am I resisting something that like I could make easier? A lot, we're at the ends of what this can do.
Mhm.
And I think we hit those walls for a really good reason, because we're not meant to figure it out here. It's we're supposed to be coming down here and working from our heart centeredness. And this is just an instrument for this, you know. So the heart, letting the heart lead and letting the brain follow instead of the
Mhm.
other way around. But that also is cultural. So we can't make ourselves wrong for the way we were all taught to be. It's like, now that we know better, how do I do it differently? Right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
get stuck in that cycle of blaming ourselves. That's not good either, you know?
Especially when there's literally nothing I can do about 20 years ago, right? I can't go back and make it different. And
Hmm.
so, and who knows, maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would something else would have happened that would have put me here because this is what I needed to be doing right now. I don't
Right.
know. But that's exactly it. This is where I'm here now. What can I take away from this now? What can I
Yeah.
learn from this? What
Yeah. And I think back to, like, even just 10 years ago, how I used to work. Um, it was different then. The energy of the planet was different then, you know?
Mhm.
You can't do the things you did back then right now. And that's what I was talking about. Is it just my age, wisdom, or but I do think it's a lot. I think it's all of that, because I'm a very active person, and I wouldn't call myself old, you know.
Mhm.
I do see myself choosing differently of where I'm going to, uh I don't want to say spend my resources, where maybe I'm going to invest my resources, where I'm going to, you know,
Mhm.
say I'm going to use resources here. But I just think that's resource management
Mhm.
versus just like, I mean, even as a little kid, watch little kids run around. They have like a bundle of energy, and they don't have any, like, they don't go, well, gee, I need to reserve. No, they're just like, because they know they're running on all kinds of energy, right? And
But they
so,
also sleep. Children sleep,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
which coming back to rest, right? If you think about it, at some point in our lives, I don't know anyone who sleeps really well, uh,
You're
but
looking at her.
children
I sleep really well.
do you
I
okay.
never have a hard time sleeping. I love sleeping.
Oh, that is so
I
I'm a
love
little jealous, I have to say.
Yeah, yeah, no, so somebody's.
Okay, well, that's good to know that it's a thing.
It's a
Um, but children sleep. They have naps, they go
thing.
to bed early, and when they wake up, they're cranky. You know that they're cranky.
Mhm,
So you get them to bed early that next night because they got up early. So children, we understand the need for sleep for children.
mhm,
At what point do we go, we no longer need sleep? It's
mhm.
somewhere around the teenage years when the teenager wants to sleep
Oh,
and
yeah,
we don't want them to. They're being lazy.
yeah.
And so somewhere in there, everything gets disconnected.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly at school, that was where I had the hardest time. It's because, like, when I went to school, like, even in kindergarten, like, we'd come home and we'd take naps. First grade,
Mm.
really hard because I'd get to after lunch and I'd be wanting to go take my nap. And no, you got to stay paying attention.
Mhm.
I used to get into so much trouble because that's where I would go off and daydream, because
Yeah,
like
after
my
lunch,
body was
everybody wants a
wired for,
nap.
yeah, my body was wired for let's take a nap. Oh no, I
Mhm,
gotta use my brain. But that's I think we're raising a good point here because we don't pay attention to our rhythms. Our brain when it's learning needs to have rest.
mhm,
There's a really great book. It's funny, this is like the second time in a week this has come up. Jill Bolte Taylor wrote a book years ago, My Stroke of Insight. It's a really awesome book. She's a brain scientist from Harvard
mhm,
who had a stroke. And because she was
mm.
working in that, she knew she was having a stroke. So she was able to write from the perspective of what it was like to be
Wow.
having a stroke. And in one part where she's having her recovery, because she had her stroke on the left side of her brain. So she was her right side of the brain took dominance. So she had things like she couldn't sense boundaries or edges. So like she was taught, there's a scene where she's in the shower and she can't tell the difference between her body and the drops of water. And
Mhm,
the way she describes it, it sounds pretty magical, but like after, if you're living like that, that would be pretty hard, right? Because you have no edges. And
mhm,
how the left brain provides that structure for us to be able to not be all in, one with everything, right? When
mm,
it's wanting to be one with everything, but then also knowing that we have the boundaries. The other thing, when she was healing her brain, when her brain was healing, things like bright lights, TV was just so detrimental to her brain. It would tire her out and physically make her tired.
mhm,
And then she would have chunks of learning. She would learn for a little bit and how to do stuff, and then she was allowed to nap and sleep. And then when she had like some more energy, she could do some more stuff. So it was more focused. Her life at that time and her healing, and I think she probably is still like this because she learned that the importance of rest and brain development
mhm.
is that it's more her life is not geared around the work she needs to get done for the day, but geared around the rest and
That she
health.
needs to get healthy.
Yeah, to stay healthy. Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's pretty healthy. She's doing all kinds of stuff. So I think that's part of the rewiring. It's like learning, instead of getting it backwards, like I can't do this because I'm this way. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, so here I am. This is what I have.
Yep, I
I
can do
said,
this,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
have to look after myself. Yeah.
yeah. So my body is healing, so it needs time for this, and this, and the things I love to do because that also nourishes me. So if we stop
Mm.
looking at our work as something that drains us and started looking towards work as something that nourishes us, that's building our resources, not just financially, but
Mhm.
spiritually, emotionally, physically. We're feeling enriched and enlivened. Then, we stop the leak.
And that, of course, speaks to, do we love our work? How many people do, right?
That's a really good question. That's the one I've been sitting in for a while. What do I love to do? You know,
Mhm.
there's certain things that like when I'm treating a patient and I've got my hands on them and we're in this really magical space, I can feel my whole body like like pumping with love for what I'm doing. And I
Mhm.
actually had someone say to me recently, "Wow, I can really tell you love what you're doing." And I'm like, "Yeah, I really do."
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's not exhausting though, because you quite often need, because there's all the other pieces that go with it, right?
Yeah, and I don't schedule people the way I used to schedule them,
Mhm.
because the
Yeah.
way I work now is I recognize that they have a field of energy that is coming into my field of energy, so I work the field of energy before they ever step in, and that
Mhm.
time to work that field. So when they come in to the treatment room, they already feel the energetic preparation for them. I've called them in
Yeah.
energetically, and then I arrange the field to support them. I don't have to know anything what's going on with them. But then, but if I went back to back to back like I used to do, that there'd be a whole aspect of my work that's missing that also I love to do, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I was just looking at the time, and we had talked about,
Uh-huh.
keeping things a bit shorter.
Yep.
And as I'm feeling my energy wane, not because I don't love what we're talking about. I
No.
love our conversations, and we talked about this last week when we weren't live, is, absolutely these conversations feed me,
Mhm.
but the the sitting upright, the sort of being on, right? Being alert, paying attention, those
Yeah.
sort of things take a lot out of me right now. And
Mhm.
so, it's exactly what you were talking about with the work, because there's the aspects of it that actually build, but then there's the aspects that come with it that also take away. And so you have to have the together. So I need to be mindful of my energy in all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's manage your rest first, you
Yeah.
know, instead of like, let me see how much time I can give to everybody, right?
Yeah.
That's part of a program too, right? Yeah.
That's what I'm going to have to work on.
Yeah, and the value that comes from that, right? I'm valued because I'm needed. It's funny, I heard something this morning about like how humans, that's one of the biggest lessons that humans need to be working on right now is there's the value of their self. Um,
Mm,
because we do get rewarded. I mean, just think about every single time as you were growing up, how you got rewarded for giving a piece of yourself away. You
mhm.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then I will be very valuable because I will cutting back greatly.
Polish your gold.
Yes, I will have to remember that one. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to share? Anything going on that you want people to know
Um,
about before
Yeah,
we jump
well,
off?
it's funny, I'm like, yeah, well, first of all, I became a sanctioned teacher for the, Universal Shaman well, it's the Heart of the Healer Shamanic Mystery School, so teaching the how to build a mesa and work with the unseen and the earth and all of the rituals for that, it's a lot. So I've been doing it, this is my altar behind me, for about 11 years. I've been carrying a mesa. And so I finally was like, yep, now it's time to do some teaching. So I'm going to be running a 5-part apprenticeship series beginning in end of March. It lasts for a year. And it's all on the sacred arts of the mesa and sacred reciprocity and working with the nature spirits and working with the earth, and it's just such a great tradition. It's a lineage that goes way back, and it's such a beautiful tradition for us to take up our role. I don't say become, take up our role as stewards of the earth, and really learn how much the earth loves us, the trees love us, the nature beings love us, and that
Mhm.
too is rest.
Being in nature, yeah,
Yeah.
so important. It's so funny. I think I might have mentioned this before, but I've been reading a lot of medical journals and things like that with everything
Mhm,
that's been going on with me.
mhm.
And I was surprised to see referenced walking in the forest, being in forest, but specifically pine and cedar, like
Yeah,
being in amongst the trees, and how much it helps calm the nervous system, how much it helps rejuvenate the body. And if the medical system is starting to figure this out, this is huge. And
yeah,
so I loved seeing that. And yeah, nature is so important. We need to be out there a lot more.
mhm, for
I
sure.
know I don't get out there nearly enough
Yeah,
and
well,
need to
now
make
it's a
it a
little
priority.
chilly up where you are, isn't it?
Yeah, right now it is. Well, it's not too bad. It's -8 here, which is, what did we decide that was for you? Like 13 or something like
I
that?
think it was something like, oh, yeah, yeah, 11 or
I know
12.
it's actually not that bad right now, but
Well, we're, like, in the 60s here, so
yeah,
we're like, to you, a freaking heat wave.
yes, I'd be in shorts if I was there. Um, you're in a sweater. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, things are still happening at Heart Centered Academy for anyone who wants to know. I'm still around. We're still doing things.
Mhm.
We've just changed up how we're doing things. So, I'm around three mornings a week, and we still have all our programs running, our business mastermind and all of those things. So, Yes, nature is around. Oh, so nice. Oh, so nice to have nature all around your house. But yeah, so, don't think that I'm disappearing. I'm not. I'm just cutting back, making myself more valuable.
There you go. You're
Yeah,
like gold. Precious metal.
that's right. Yes. All right. Any final thoughts? Thank you, everyone, for joining us
Thank you
today.
so much for joining us at our new time. And
Yes.
yeah, if you're watching us on the replay, you can still chime into the chat of what you think about rest or reach out, let us know. And we'd love to respond to whatever your thoughts are.
Yes, exactly. Yes, please do. And yes, uh, yes, welcome back and join us in the community or in our programs. Listen, and we're there. So, all right, I'm going to try and stop the stream. We'll see what happens. Just like at the beginning, doesn't always work the way we think it should.